Good afternoon, I'm Ed Lingao. This is One News Now. The town of Concepcion in Tarlac has been placed under hard lockdown again. To give us the latest update on the ground, we have Marian Enriquez live from Concepcion. Marian, gaano katagal yung hard lockdown dyan sa Concepcion?
Yes, Bok, the whole town of Concepcion in Tarlac is under hard lockdown for 24 hours starting 8 p.m. last night. That's after one more resident tested positive for COVID-19. Stores are closed. You can hardly see any residents roaming outside their homes. The town mayor immediately appealed to implement a total lockdown after recording its second confirmed case. A 65-year-old asymptomatic male from Barangay Santiago tested negative when he underwent rapid testing. But when swabbed for PCR testing, his results came back positive. Officials are now aggressively conducting contact tracing, rapid testing, and confirmatory PCR testing on the patient's close contacts. He will be brought to a quarantine facility in New Clark City. The LGU of Concepcion is now disinfecting markets, hospitals, malls, banks, and terminals where huge number of people often flock. But this is not the first time the whole town was placed under total lockdown. In April, when the first COVID-positive case was recorded in the area, the town was immediately placed under total lockdown for 48 hours. Aside from contact tracing and testing residents with coronavirus symptoms, the LGU is also conducting at least 50 random rapid tests every day. Residents of Concepcion said, although the lockdown order was quite sudden, they're throwing their support behind it if it means that the virus won't spread further.
Palagay ko, okay lang maging OA for these times na kung hindi ka kasi immediately mag-a-act, hindi na natin hihintayin na pumutok I think the key here is to be very proactive na nandun ka agad at talagang immediately may desisyon kang gagawin. Kasi oras ang pinag-uusapan dito. Malusutan ka lang ng isa, yun na yun, puputok ka na. That's why we're doing this. At ang maganda ho sa Concepcion na intindihan po ng mga kababayan.
Bok, Mayor Lacson also appealed to the national government to conduct mass testing through swabbing or using PCR test kits to our frontliners, to the most vulnerable sector of the population, and anyone who may be exposed to the virus. Bok?
Okay, Marian, itong nag-positive na 65-year-old, sabi mo kasi, number 1, asymptomatic siya. Number 2, negative siya doon sa rapid test. Mabuti na isip nilang mag-PCR testing. What made them check him via PCR?
Yes, Bok. Ito nga yung ginagawa ngayon dito ng munisipyo and also by the governor. No? Ang ini-implement nga nila isa na matest yung 3% ng population ng Tarlac. Ito yung ginagawa nilang random sampling. No? Bukod dun sa rapid test, isasalang ka rin agad dun sa PCR o yung swabbing testing dito nga. At doon nakita no, na nag-negative yung 65-year-old na residente nga ng Barangay Santiago. At pagkatapos, isinalang siya sa PCR and nakita na nag-positive siya.
Okay. So, pati yung PCR testing nila is randomized.
Yes. Yes, Bok. Bale, dalawang ginagawa nila, no? Kukuha sila, may sampling yan, kukuha ng menor de edad, kukuha ng middle age, kukuha ng senior, meron din nga male, female, tapos gagawin dalawang testing. May rapid test, pagkatapos isa lang sa rapid test, doon na ikaw isasalang sa PCR o yung swabbing. Bok.
Well, kaya ko na itatanong yan kasi I would think na medyo interesting itong kasong ito doon sa ibang mga LGUs kasi ang polisiya ngayon ng gobyerno, yung testing lamang ng gobyerno for COVID-19, yung mga frontliners, saka may mga symptoms at yung mga dating tinatawag na PUM at mga PUI. Ito sa kasong ito sa Concepcion, kahit asymptomatic siya, nag-random testing siya ng PCR at rapid test. At doon nalaman na meron siyang virus.
Tama, Bok. At ayun nga, yung pinaprioritize ngayon ng hindi lang ng Concepcion, no, ng buong Tarlac dahil ito nga ang ginagawa nila, 3% sana ng population ng Tarlac maisagawa itong random testing. Bukod dun sa rapid, isasalang ka rin sa PCR o yung swabbing testing.
Itong testing na ito ng Concepcion Tarlac, this is entirely by the LGU, hindi ito DOH, hindi ito national government. Kumbaga, ito ba inisyatibo lamang ng LGU?
Yes. Oo. But also, aside from dun sa random testing na may rapid and PCR, yung mismong Concepcion, si Mayor Andy Lacson, talagang nag-iikot sila. Yun nga yung nabanggit natin kanina na 50 rapid tests yung ginagawa nila araw-araw. So ito naman from Concepcion LGU na to mismo. So meron silang 1,500 rapid tests at inaasahan nila na dadagdagan pa nila ito, no, kung kinakailangan.
Okay, Bok, huling tanong lang. Dun sa random testing, siyempre interesado ang marami dito sa testing na ito dahil maraming may gusto malaman kung sila may sakit at kung gaano kalagarap yung sakit. Pag sinabi mo bang 50 random tests per day, paano yung pagpipili nila ng mga 80 tests? Kahit sinong madampot nila sa kalsada o meron silang scientific basis for selecting randomly? Kasi for example, ang pag-survey, bagamat random, scientific yung pag-select ng mga ng mga subjects.
Bawat barangay, nag-iisa-isa sila, no? Tutukuyin nila, hahanap sila ng yun nga, senior, ng bata at middle age at yun yung tinukuhanan nila. Tapos iniisa-isa nila yan bawat barangay. At meron din nabanggit si Mayor Lacson na pinupuntahan din nila yung mga slum areas o yung may yun nga, yung matataong lugar, mga populated areas.
Okay. Sige, maraming salamat, Marian Enriquez. I think this is an interesting case study for a lot of LGUs to look at. Maraming salamat. Over in Pampanga, residents trooped to a covered court in Barangay Mabiga in Mabalacat Town to avail of food coupons. The LGU is handing out some 5,700 vouchers to families who were excluded from the government's cash dole-out. Mabalacat Mayor Crisostomo Garbo says they decided to distribute gift checks instead of cash because some residents were using the money to fund their vices.
Nakipag-ano ako sa mga groceries at saka sa mga department store na mga known department store natin at nakipag-tie up tayo sa kanila at bumili tayo ng mga gift check. Yung gift check na yon, it is worth 1,000 pesos na bawal ang bumili ng mga alak, mga sigarilyo, yung mga personal effects. So yun, pwede sa gatas ng mga anak nila, pwede dun sa kanilang pagkain.
Well, still in Pampanga, but this time in Candaba town, the LGU conducted rapid testing on the town's frontliners and public employees. Candaba actually has 0 coronavirus infections in the past 6 weeks, but the LGU is still pushing through with testing to avoid a resurgence of COVID-19.
So, nag-start kami nung Monday. So, until yesterday, we were able to test about 100. We're very happy na lahat negative.
The government plans to use digital modes of payment to help distribute the second tranche of the social amelioration program. But beneficiaries are asking how will they be able to receive it when they don't even have bank accounts or access to the internet. Lino Lavario with the story.
It's no question that those who live in this 16 square meter structure in Barangay Pineda, Pasig City belong to the poorest of the poor. At least 4 families are trying to fit themselves in this house alone. Giselle Bonzo, mother of a 6-month-old baby, said her family was excluded from the first tranche of the DSWD's Social Amelioration Program.
May mga trabaho ka?
Wala po.
Anong trabaho dati?
Mga kargador, tas contraction.
Tapos yung ECQ?
Opo, lahat.
She's hoping to be included in the waiting list for the DSWD's Emergency Subsidy Program, aimed at helping the other 5 million low-income families. These seamstresses and house helpers who are stranded at a dress shop in Barangay Pineda are hoping for the same thing.
Taga-Taytay po kami. Tapos na mananahe, tapos na lockdown po kami rito. Mamula nung yung simula ng lockdown po. Wala na po kaming kita ngayon.
While they have received relief packs from the barangay, they couldn't claim their cash aid from Taytay Rizal. They said they didn't try to appeal to Barangay Pineda anymore.
Kaya naman po magpunta doon sa bago lang kasi kami.
The second tranche of the government's cash aid is giving them hope. In the IATF meeting earlier this week, DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista bared that the second tranche will be distributed by the AFP and PNP instead of the LGUs.
Sa sinasabi nga ng AFP, sabi nila meron na silang actually model na pwedeng gamitin dito sa pagtulong sa DSWD. Ito yung modelo na ginamit nila during the election. Pero i-adjust lang nila to just to mag-tailor fit siya dito sa gagawin nating pagdidistribute ng ayuda.
The PNP welcomed the responsibility and has allotted 205,000 personnel to help distribute the second tranche of the cash subsidy. Secretary Bautista also bared they will use digital modes of payment for the second tranche. But the system poses a problem for the poor.
Wala, tingnan mo, kagaya kami, walang bank account. Paturo sa anak. Ganun na lang.
Barangay Pineda has completed distributing the first tranche of the DSWD SAP to about 3,500 families. But some 361 families are still appealing their case, hoping to receive cash aid in the coming weeks. For News 5, Lynn Olivario, We Are One News.
A mathematics professor from UP is disputing the statement of Health Secretary Francisco Duque that the country is now experiencing the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. In an interview with One News's Agenda, Professor Guido David of the UP Diliman says that Metro Manila has not flattened the curve yet, so it is still on its first wave. But it is a different story for other provinces like Ilocos, Cagayan, and Central Luzon, where the curve may have already been flattened.
We're actually still in the first wave because hindi pa nag-flatten yung curve. Now, nationwide, nag-flatten yung curve if we just look at the entire Philippines. Pero that's because that's an average of all the values that we see. Ibig sabihin, for certain provinces, we're already flattened. Pero for NCR, we're not yet there. We're still in the first wave. We're not in the second wave yet. So, hindi yung problem is magkaka-second wave. Problem is magko-continue yung first wave. That's our fear if we lift if we really relax the quarantine.
The Interior Department says that the cases filed against NCRPO Chief Debod Sinas will proceed despite the President expressing his support for the beleaguered policeman. In an interview with the Chiefs at One News, DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya says they condemn the alleged quarantine violations committed during the NCRPO Chief's Mañanita. Malaya adds that the agency will go after public officials who disregard quarantine rules.
Basta kami po sa DILG, we already made a statement. We already made clear our position on this, that it would not be good for public officials, whether they are police officers or whether they are local government officials. We do not tolerate these types of actions, and we will put to the public that if you do something like this, you will either face an administrative case or a criminal case.
Brazil now has the third highest number of coronavirus infections in the world, behind the United States and Russia. Based on the latest data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, the South American nation has registered almost 300,000 COVID cases with close to 19,000 deaths. Things are also grim in the nation's Amazon state, with demands for airlifting COVID-19 patients tripling in the past few days. Small planes that could travel to these remote areas can only carry one serious patient at a time, or two if the other patient has moderate symptoms. Rural towns in the region lack medical supplies and facilities that could care for critically ill patients. COVID-19 cases in the world are now inching closer to 5 million. Based on data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, the global coronavirus count now stands at more than 4,996,000. The U.S. still has the highest number of cases at over 1.5 million. greater than the combined cases in Russia, Brazil, and the United Kingdom, Spain, and Italy. The North American nation has also registered the most deaths at more than 93,000. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News.